Welcome on back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 97 of the Top 5 PvP Battles. If you guys want to send in your own clips for the Top 5, you can send them to KristoferESO@hotmail.com. Now, starting us off today, we have got Akinos on a melee Magicka Sorcerer, and he's hanging outside of Bruma here, playing that really cool melee build. You saw he threw the mines down, and the enemy player used Streak through it and did a ton of damage to himself. And now Akinos is going to jump on top of these red that are trying to take the flag here. He throws the mines down and gets some good immobilizes there. Unfortunately, the Necromancer took a lot of those mines, so he wasn't able to get some really good damage as the Necro's in his ult. And he tries to go for the Donnie combo there, but the enemy players respond with their own ult dump, and Akinos finds himself taking quite a bit of pressure, and he kites behind some of the rubble here, trying to pull out the players into a better position. And he throws down the mines. The enemy player gets pulled into the mine there, and Akinos is getting really good damage. He throws down another set of mines. Another player gets pulled through. Tons of damage on that guy as he comes through the mine there. And Akinos is just using the terrain here to negate as much damage as possible and lure them into these mine traps. Look, he pulls them into this tight little spot. One player takes 2 mine bursts there, and Akinos goes for the Dawnbreaker, the Execute, finishes off that red player, and he finds himself a little lower hit points here, just kind of recovering, getting his heals up, getting back into his little hole here, and he throws the mines down. And now the red players are much more cautious to engage with him here. Akinos has got one heck of a deadly trap as long as he sits in that little cubby. And he does a double streak through the group, getting good damage on one player there. Hits him with the Execute, and good movement with his streak as well, just to keep himself hard to target and predict. And then he's got just 2 red players left. He throws the mines down. The red players back up and attempt to go for reses. Akinos stops one of the reses, throws the Dawnbreaker down. Unfortunately, doesn't get the streak in time. The other player just manages to get up there, but Akinos quickly streaks into the player that got resed, hits him with a couple attacks with the Vampire skill, and then into the Execute, and he goes down. And now Akinos is finding himself a little lower on resource here. The enemy player still putting up a bit of pressure, but the amount of control that Akinos has using these mines and the streak, he can really play the positioning game against these guys. He throws down a fresh minefield here. Another red player from behind here, unfortunately, feeding him crystal frags. One of the players, though, walked through the minefield, taking a ton of damage. Akinos keeping the pressure up here, feeding him the Vampire spammable ability, and he finally goes down. Akinos just resets his buffs here, goes for a bit of a kite around the rubble, and now he's going to re-engage. He streaks right on top of the enemy Dragon Knight, hits him with the Execute into the mines. I love how he goes for that combo. If the DK gets hit by all those mines, he could possibly explode from the Execute there. And the other player just trying to get through to Akinos here, getting hit by the minefield. He sets down a fresh one, streaks through the group, feeds them the Dawnbreaker. Huge damage into this player that just engaged here. And Akinos starts hitting him with the Vampire spammable, trying to keep that damage on him. Unfortunately, the enemy Dragon Knight starts throwing down some AoE as well. Akinos just streaks out of there, throws down a couple fresh minefield. There you see a beautiful streak stun as that player jumps through the minefield. The Execute into the Eviscerate. That player goes down, and now Akinos has just got this enemy Dragon Knight left. He just keeps feeding him the Eviscerates, trying to get a good combo. There we see the Dawnbreaker come in, into the Execute, and just like that, beautiful build and wonderful gameplay. Now, for our next fight, we've got iMaadii on the Stamina Warden, and he's hanging out up top this resource tower here with his friend, putting some big bombs into this red group as they chase them down. But the worst thing happens, and his friend goes down, and now iMaadii is all alone with all these red players chasing after him. iMaadii quickly retreats down to the bottom, sets all those big heals down, and just trying to get a bit of distance from the group. He's got his ultimate ready, though. Did get a few kills with that first Dawnbreaker there. And iMaadii just resets the buffs, is a little patient, takes the stun there. Actually great now that iMaadii has stun immunity. He can drop this combo very safely, and he drops a huge Dawnbreaker into the Subterranean Assault, goes for the spin to win. 2 red players going down. iMaadii trying to get the kill on the third one there, but decides not to stick it out. There's a lot of pressure from this red group. Jumps down to the bottom. One player follows. iMaadii fakes back up to the top, and then drops down the side here, just breaking some good distance from the group, and just resetting the buffs here. And iMaadii goes for the re-engage. The Dawnbreaker is almost ready again. He's got a lot of ultimate gen on this build. And there goes the Dawnbreaker. Some more Subterranean Assault and the spin to win. The red group again taking 3 casualties, 4 casualties this time. And I think Maaddii's only got a couple, 3 or 4 players left up top there, heading back down to the bottom, very low on stamina. And Maaddiii just kind of like sitting out that stun. He got around the corner when he got stunned there. It's a really good position to just sit there. Caught lower stamina too, but Maaddiii is staying super aggressive here. Sees these guys going for the res, goes for a couple heavy attacks while they're not paying attention. And here goes the Subterranean Assault. Maaddiii sidesteps the Dawnbreaker from that player too, drops his own Dawnbreaker. Another red player goes down, and the enemy Templar jumps on top of Maaddiii, kites down to the bottom here, back up to the top, just getting that Vigor heal in. And the enemy player's not attempting to go for the reses anymore while Maaddii's at the top. He goes for a huge 12k Subterranean Assault on that guy into the spin, and he goes down. Maaddii's got the ultimate ready. Again, there's a big Dawnbreaker smack into the spins. Another player goes down, and it looks like just this enemy Templar. Maaddiii feeds him the execute. And just like that, he's wiped everybody at the top here. The last red player comes running around the corner, just throwing spears at Maaddiii. And Maaddii's just going to try to get a little bit of resource back here with the heavy attacks and combo this guy out with the Subterranean into the spin to win. The enemy Templar goes for the heal up there. Maaddiii unfortunately misreads the Dawnbreaker, but that guy jumps off the edge. What a turnaround. Really great fight. And that fight actually goes on for quite a bit more time. If you guys want to check it out, be sure to check out Maaddii's channel down in the description below. And moving on to the next clip, we've got Pelican on that Magicka Sorcerer. Some beautiful roll gameplay coming in to get the kill, and then feeds the Nightblade the Dawnbreaker as he ambushes into him. Couple very clean and fast kills there, and now he tries to go for a huge combo on this enemy player. The enemy player actually blocking the Dawnbreaker, but too much damage from the curse and elemental weapon, and that guy goes down. Now Pelican finds himself very low on hit points here, getting smacked pretty hard from these guys. He goes for a bit of a retreat back behind the terrain, just breaking some distance to see if he can get these players to engage a little less grouped up. Right away, he engages with the Nightblade, hits him with the Fire Staff, knock back the curse into the elemental weapon poke. One player down, and Pelican right away starts working on his next target. He feeds him the curse, goes for the frags there. The enemy player's throwing a lot of damage down. Pelican actually has his shield down for a bit there, just rolling the enemy attacks so he can stay aggressive. And he almost has this guy dead. There's the last connection with the elemental weapon to bring him down. The enemy player's keeping up the pressure here. Pelican gets a great Fire Staff knockback and finishes that guy off, and he right away turns on top of the last blue player there, knocking him back into the air, quickly finishing him with that elemental weapon. And one last player attempting to get the res. Pelican does a great streak through him, feeds him the Dawnbreaker, and down he goes. Now, moving on to our next clip here, we have got Meaxy again on the Stamina Sorcerer, and Meaxy right away picking up a quick kill on that blue player, and then going for a streak back behind the terrain, getting some resource back with the Dark Deal, and then Meaxy goes into the Sword and Board ultimate to get that guaranteed block, staying very aggressive on these guys. Unfortunately, the enemy NPCs throw the negate down. Meaxy quickly streaks out of there, actually running Ball of Lightning here, so Meaxy's got some really good projectile absorb as well. And he manages to break some good distance from the group, again with that streak, getting away from the guards on top of the middle of the keep there. And just really good back and forth movement to prevent these guys from putting a lot of damage into him. And now Meaxy has got a nice spot in this cubbyhole. He trying to pick out a good target here. Unfortunately, the enemy player's putting a lot of pressure, and Meaxy goes for a good roll behind the box here, and then hits him with a huge Dawnbreaker, getting good damage into everyone. Doesn't connect on the first player, but quickly switches targets, goes for a dizzy swing into the Executioner, a nice clean cancel, and that guy goes down. And then Meaxy keeps the pressure up on the one player who didn't respond very well at the doorway there, and just quickly kills him. And now Meaxy goes right back behind the box, just keeping those heals up. The second Dawnbreaker ready already, just from picking up those 2 kills earlier. Meaxy gets a quick kill with that Dawnie, and then kites back around the side here, just keeping those buffs up, staying very, very defensive. Resetting the armor buff too. Gotta have that Surge Hurricane combo. And Meaxy just starts feeding the dizzy swings to this player here. He responds really well though, goes into his block, and Meaxy is unable to put the damage in for that combo. So he just goes for a bit of a kite around the side of the staircase here. Good streak through the group just to reposition himself. A big Dawnbreaker comes down, a couple Executioners, and Meaxy brings down another player there. And just goes for that rally, moves up to the top of the staircase here and starts feeding the enemy Sorc Some dizzy swings. The enemy Sorc just does not respond quick enough to it. Meaxy quickly brings him down with the combo there, and then back into the cubbyhole here, trying to get a few heavy attacks off. There's a huge Dawnbreaker again. The Executioner comes down, and Meaxy's right away switching to the next target. A couple dizzy swings into the Execute. Wow, the damage on this build is something else. Meaxy's just tearing through everybody here, catches that player off guard, and brings him down in a great fight. And finally, guys, for our last fight today, we have got NastYyc on the Stamina Dragon Knight. And Nasty has got a ton of yellow players chasing him outside of this resource here. Nasty manages to get a great burst with his first leap there, quickly moving on to dot up these players, but as soon as Nasty tries to go for something offensive, there's a lot of pressure coming in from these yellow. He tries again to go for an interrupt on that guy, going for the res, but Nasty unfortunately has to pull out of that. And these yellow players, they just don't believe in healing themselves. So Nasty's going to very quickly pick up one kill with the Execute, leap on the next guy, execute him to bring him down, and throws the breath there to try to debuff everybody. But these yellow players, man, putting out quite a bit of pressure on Nasty. He hits him with a good interrupt, attempting that res there. The Meteor's coming down. Nasty gets the bash on the other player going for the res, holding his block in order to counter the Meteor as well. And he just keeps moving around the trees here, just kind of dotting everyone up, looking for these guys, attempting for the res. The leap is finally ready. A huge leap on that guy into the Execute. Another yellow player goes down, and Nasty's getting pulled all over the place by these yellow. He got a good coverage there with that dot, however. He's got a lot of options for something aggressive here, but again, oh, this player's very low on health. Nasty doesn't decide to stay on top of him. In fact, actually favoring to stop the res from these two instead. He's taking a ton of pressure here, so it's not very easy, I think, at all for him to go offensive outside of those huge AoE stuns with the leap. Nasty almost managing to get another couple kills there, but he can't even get the Execute. There's just too many players. Well, never mind. He got a good connection there, and the yellow group all of a sudden decides that they're going to piece on out of here, so they have to be in comms or something together. And Nasty's just going to finish one player off and then head to the back line here, jumping on top of this last player, feeding him the Executes to finish him off too. And Nasty's not done. He's going to chase this group back towards the keep and continue this fight. They actually threw a camp up, so Nasty's going to quickly dot up the guy that threw the camp up, start feeding him the dizzy swings. A lot of damage. This guy doesn't respond fast enough with his heal. He goes for the channeled Templar heal there, so he ends up going down, and then Nasty's just going to quickly start working on the other targets here. And this is not a great position. He's very open field, but Nasty stays aggressive. Another leap going down. He finishes off that player. And he just quickly looks for some terrain to give him a little bit of cover from this group, just pounding his heels while he does, and then quickly dots up the first player that jumps on top of him, trying to feed him those Executioners, hits him with that dizzy swing, the partial charged heavy for the stun there. The enemy player manages to break it in time, and Nasty's just getting counter-stunned and attacked a lot here. And Nasty sees some more yellow players come in. He quickly switches to attack them. The enemy Sorc here, a nice and easy big leap on her. She doesn't have the shield up. Nasty quickly finishes her off. And now there is another friendly player that seems to have entered the fray on the other side there, and Nasty's just going to stay right on top of this big yellow group. He's got so little terrain to work with here. He's just using this one little log, rotating around it, going for a combo as soon as he can on someone, and now Nasty decides, all right, we can't keep staying there. The potion is on cooldown. We got to back up just a little bit. And after getting behind the tree, he just resets his buff. Nasty quickly heads towards the back line. The enemy Sorcerer here, he's not doing the right things. Nasty very quickly kills him again, chasing down this other enemy player who doesn't seem to notice him behind him. Nasty quickly kills him off, just kind of tanking out the damage from this other lower level player here. And the enemy players slowly starting to turn around. It actually seems like a lot of them are still on the other side chasing that other blue player, I believe. And Nasty's just staying on top of these guys at the doorway here. And it looks like there are only 4 of them left and a couple of them lower level. So Nasty actually has a good opportunity to finish these guys off. He goes for a big leap into the Executioners, bringing that guy down, continuing to just kite out this enemy Nightblade. And he quickly switches back to this other player with the bow here. Nasty dots him up good, and he decides actually to switch back to the other enemy Nightblade that's been chasing him. The other yellow player's kind of retreated a bit back there, and Nasty's got a lot of bodies here, so he's just going to try to keep everybody on the ground. This guy's attempting to go for the res. one big leap into the Executioners, and he goes down. And just like that, NastYyc has finished the group. Now his friendly players decide to start jumping from the keep to help him when there's only 3 yellow players left. NastYyc quickly putting the pressure in to finish off those 2 there. And the last guy just gets beat down. Great to see him survive and turn around from so many opponents on top of him. And of course, we have a bonus clip for you guys today. We've got Chris Cox on his Magicka Templar, and Chris manages to rack up quite an impressive amount of kills outside this keep here. So I hope that you guys enjoy this last fight as we say our goodbyes here. A massive thank you and shout out to everybody for sending in those clips. If you guys want to check out anybody featured in today's episode, you can find links to their channels down in the description below. And as always, I implore you guys to check out some of these fine ESO content creators. We are getting so close to episode 100 of the top 5 PvP battles, and I'm honestly not really sure what I want to do for the 100th episode. So if you guys have any ideas of what you'd want to see for episode 100, let me know down in the description below. I was thinking something along the lines of the top 5 greatest fights ever, where we take a look at the past 99 episodes worth of fights and we pick the best of the best for you guys. So again, let me know what you guys think. And of course, if you guys are interested in sending in your own clips, or if you even want to send a build to be featured on the channel, you can send that to KristoferESO@hotmail.com. Check out my website, KristoferESO.com, for written guides to all my builds, as well as a hub for all of my ESO content. Catch that live gameplay from me on Twitch if you guys want to watch, or just come and hang out. And of course, give me a follow on Twitter if you want to keep up to date with what's going on with me. We are sponsored by What the Fast. They're a VPN for gamers, and they can give you better ping to your favorite games, free to try for the first month. A link, of course, down in the description below for you guys. And then last but certainly not least, a massive thank you and shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. Without you guys, I couldn't do this job, so thank you everybody so much for supporting. Thank you everybody so much for tuning in and watching. As always, I hope that you guys enjoyed. I will see you next time, and have a great night, everyone.